quorum. All right, huh? No, we should. Yeah, all right. Pledge allegiance. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. By the way, do we still do that in the schools here?
No.
We don't?
At least Franklin doesn't.
I know they don't in West Dallas either.
Really?
Yeah, my assistant.
At least the middle school.
My assistant had her kids in the other day, and we were talking about it. She said, "No, they don't do it."
That's one thing we did every day in school.
Absolutely,
Every morning.
absolutely. I guess
No.
it's not things we do these days. It's sad, I think.
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
what the heck? All right. Citizens' comments. Anyone from the gallery have anything to add? All right. Let's move on. Let us welcome Melissa Ferguson. Let's give her a little bit of appreciation. Hey, Melissa, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Tim just got here, but you've been now Franklin resident 6 years?
6 years. It'll be 6 years in July.
And she came from the greater Chicago area.
Oh.
Yeah.
Only for 6 years, so don't hold it against me.
Absolutely.
Then moved to Burlington until I was 21, and then Milwaukee, Greenfield, and now Franklin.
Oh, well.
Well,
All right.
Yeah.
Making the rounds.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here.
Well,
Thank you.
congratulations.
good to have you.
Yeah.
All right. Our January 17th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to take a peek at those? All right. We have a motion to approve. All right. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. All right. Strategic planning report. We've got Corey here to kind of take us through it. So,
You guys cannot get rid of me, except for now, actually, you will be able to after this meeting. So, thank you very much for having me here again. I do not have a presentation because this is really the topic of is this, at least as far as mine. So what you have before you is a strategic plan summary report. Just to kind of give you an idea real quick, everything that you have here is the first part of this, the strategic planning process, that just kind of goes through some of the stuff that we discussed during the retreat, right? Just the process itself in terms of development, where are we now, where are we going, how are we going to get there, and then how do we know that we are there, kind of those indicators and those action plans. Stakeholder engagement, this is simply and at this point I am on pages 5 and 6. And I'm deliberately kind of zooming through this because none of this is new to you. This is some excerpts of the information that I shared with you back several months ago. This is the focus groups and the survey data. So all I did is just kind of took some high level, just some summaries of that. That way this can be shared with the public, but again, just to kind of take some of the high level stuff from that. Certainly you can share the other things I've already provided as well, but just to provide some of that context within this, the report itself. So that is also the focus group reports then on pages 7, 8. Again, none of this is new information. All of this is the stakeholder information that I have presented to you previously, other than Melissa, for which this may be new information.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I can read that on my own too.
But for everyone else in the room, no, I have presented all of this information.
okay.
And then just kind of understanding the environment. I'm now on pages 9 and 10, SWOT analysis. This is taken exactly off of, you remember at the retreat, we had all of those great big Post-it notes. I took it exactly off of the Post-it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is exactly the data that we came up with that day, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Melissa, I'll give you a little bit of context. We had a strategic planning retreat. And so as part of that, we did what's called a SWOT analysis, which is in advance, I asked for everyone to do a survey where I asked them to identify strengths for Franklin, which is there are things that are present and internal, weaknesses, and then opportunities. Opportunities tend to be in the future and external to the organization, and then threats. And then everybody took the survey data and they worked in groups to kind of come up with some themes.
Oh, okay.
So what you're seeing here under the SWOT analysis on page 9 was what the groups shared with the rest of, with the larger group. So that's what each of the small groups shared with the larger.
Nice.
And then on page 10, and again, I took this directly off of those Post-it notes, was those strategic issues that were identified. So the changing community, the future community needs, updated land use plan that can provide direction, a location for downtown, and those questions that were, is it feasible, needed, and should Franklin be a walkable community? Community education, community development, community direction, building process, staff, technology, marketing for businesses, visitors, developers, and residents, and then government. And then we went through, as you recall, we came up with 3 strategic goals. And those strategic goals were the community vision for development understood, the development process improved, and city communications. You know what, John? I did not get that edit. I will fix that for you. That's my mistake. I just saw that that's not right. It's supposed to be the city communications regarding economic development.
City economic development.
Yeah, that is my error. I missed that. That's the reason why I have a pen and a paper copy of this. But I will get that. That's my error. So I will get that fixed for you. So city economic development communications improved. John is pretty talented and all, but I don't think we want to leave the communications for the entire city on his shoulders.
Well, yeah, I mean, and we do have somebody that's doing some of that now.
Yep. No, but
wouldn't be
but the scope of this though was economic development.
Right.
So yes,
right.
Yes. And you had asked me to limit that, and I missed that when we were doing our final changes.
I just had a couple of almost like grammatical things.
Yeah, please hit me.
Oh, okay. Well, on page 10, community education of economic development, community direction for economic development.
This was taken directly off of those sheets, so I don't generally change it.
Okay, that's fine. Just send it to me in Word.
I certainly can't, or also we could. And we can.
See what I mean? It's just
And what I can do is that just tell me, and we can just put down kind of in parentheses, like I did, changing community. I just put down the changing community. We can do the same thing. That's fine. Or we'll just put down.
Because just somebody looking at this, would look at it and say, oh, they're looking at community education.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
In general. And
yeah, we'll do that then. We can kind of talk that through, but we can certainly put that down into parentheses so that that's clear, that that's kind of what the intention was, even if it wasn't expressly stated. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine. Like I say, it's like a grammatical thing.
Really. Yeah, no, absolutely. I get that. So is everything else we've kind of gone through is kind of where it's all material that all of you have seen before or actively participated in. And so where I really wanted to spend the most time today was on page 12, because some of this may be new to you. So John and I have been spending some time kind of going back and forth, coming up with the outcomes, key outcome indicators, and targets. So as a little bit of a review, outcome, all that means is, what does success look like? The key outcome indicators is simply how are we going to count that? And then the target is what is the measurable difference, and what is the date that we expect to see it. So some of these you'll note there is a couple of these where we've got a blank in there. Sometimes we simply don't have the information yet. There's a few things in here where we're waiting on the comp plan. So we won't have that information until we have the comp plan.
Where are you at?
I'm just looking over at the comp plan. I'm just noting that there's a couple of spaces there.
When you say comp plan.
Oh, under target.
Under goal 1, and maybe we want to put 1, 2, and 3 under the goals there.
Sure, we can certainly do that.
But target in the target column.
Yeah.
There's blank.
There's the date is blank for to be determined with completion of the time.
Okay.
Yep. So these are essentially the same things as what we came up with during the retreat. Again, what John and I did is that we just kind of went through and we refined them a little bit based on the intention of when we were all the group. I don't know if you all remember, what we were all pretty tired by the end, and with some of it we didn't have the right information in the room at the point that we discussed. So we needed a little bit of time to go through and kind of dial some of these in. So John and I have been working on that. So let's go through real quick maybe and kind of take this kind of one by one. We want to go through that strategic goal of community vision for development understood. What does success look like? That appropriate incentive needs understood, and then the community vision for business identified. So what are we, I'm going to go down to the targets and back into the key outcome indicators. So the targets are things like recommendation of appropriate industrial incentives developed by December 31st of 25. Is that a hard date for us, John? Can I put that in pen rather than pencil now?
I think by the end of the year, we'll be able to get that
Okay.
accomplished.
Okay.
And my question, why is that so? Right?
Well,
if you, that basically means we're doing nothing for a year. You don't have incentives, you can't do anything.
well, right now, the way we do incentives is that it's a negotiated process.
Right.
And having some guidelines, we're going to need to collaborate with the finance department, and also probably should collaborate some with the planning department. And so that's all a process. That stuff goes through their meetings.
Okay, so if you don't have them until the end of the year, then nothing's going to happen except on a one-on-one basis. Somebody comes in and says,
Right.
hey, I'm interested.
Yeah, and then we know the basic factors that we have to have for someone to do a tax increment finance project.
Right.
And we can write those down and send those.
Well, it's so much easier to edit and create, so, we can send them to them, boom, boom,
Yeah.
et cetera.
Yeah, that's why we want to list it out, but
Okay.
it's not, like I say, it's something that we want to continue to use going forward, and so we want to be thorough about it and, like I say, collaborate with the finance commission as well as planning, and then it goes to the council, and it will be. Mayor Olson brought this up as far as, put together a policy or a plan, or actually a policy for it. And so we didn't think we necessarily had the bandwidth to do that. And maybe in collaboration with the Finance Commission, we may decide that we want to pull on a consultant to do it. Somebody like Ehlers.
Well, I guess, but it's serious, just saying a recommendation. That's not an approval, so recommendation for time.
So, yeah, we could recommend it at any time and bounce it around those commissions, and then they'd go over it and mark it up and send it back to us, and we'd mark it up and do the same process.
Are those
Only a little sloppier.
are incentives financial?
It would basically be TIF, but there may be other incentives. We have industrial revenue bond, which we already kind of know what the process of that is, but we're working with a law firm right now that has done most of them for us, but they could certainly give us something in writing that lets us know. And it would probably be wise for us to take a look at what policy we do have regarding, because we have to have something somewhere about industrial revenue bonds, because somewhere it was approved that the city would engage in.
If I can make a recommendation before we get into talking about the dates, it might be helpful just for us to understand everything that's on goal 1, including what kinds of plans and programs we're going to put in place, which is on the back on page 13. I think it just might be helpful for us to look at it kind of as a chunk, all of it together, and then kind of back into it, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the targets then under this, again, so we've got the recommendation of the appropriate industrial incentives, appropriate housing incentives, and for both of those, that's by the end of the year. The retail node potential locations prioritized, and again, that's as we're waiting for the comp plan for that. And then potential future location for industries prioritized, and again, that is waiting for the comp plan as well. And so then that key outcome indicator is just how are we going to be, how are we going to know that this is done? What are we kind of counting? I am going to then take you over to that back. What are some of the things then that need to get done in terms of Economic Development Commission? So some of the things that are being looked at as part of that John and I talked through is things like an appropriate housing incentives analysis, an industrial incentives analysis. So I think that was part of what John was kind of talking to. There's some analysis in here in order to form that recommendation. And then the analysis of the retail node prioritization and industrial site prioritization. So I just didn't want you to think that we were done with the front page. I wanted you just to make sure that you saw what was on the back page as well.
Okay.
With that said, now I think would be a great time to talk about any questions or comments on goal 1. We can kind of look at it
for me, I'm fine.
all together.
Sure.
Okay.
Does that would any of this need to fit into the budget cycle for 2026? No.
Not necessarily, no.
Most of the incentives come up as it comes up.
They come up as, tax increment finance, which, number one, requires a TID district, a TID to be established. So that's usually what the triggering process is in self-funds.
Okay.
But the types of use for housing, use for industry are items that need to have a firm
PRN.
hand on. Pardon?
PRN.
Sure.
So any questions, comments, any goal 1 before I go on? That all makes sense. Goal 2 then was development process improved.
One question, you mentioned housing incentives. Page 1, it says appropriate incentive needs. Is it just housing or is it everything else too?
Industry and housing. Typically, what we're seeing right now is uses for TID.
Okay. So it's not just a housing incentive.
Well, okay, depends on what the nature of the TID is. If it's a mixed use, it can have housing in it and industrial.
You know what? Never mind. You got both 1 and 2. So they're both covered. Good.
But they can be separate. Before, we have not done strictly housing, and so we're being engaged or we're being asked to consider that very often.
Okay.
Housing is less of a payback than industrial.
Correct.
So that's why it hasn't been incentivized.
Right.
You guys will have plenty of things to analyze, sounds like. You'll have plenty of things to analyze then, right?
Well, when they come up.
All right, then goal 2, development process improved. And that was outcomes, what does success look like? New development process improved, increased use of existing TID, and infill development timeline reduced. I'm going to go all the way back over to the targets again. Development timeline decreased by at least 10% by, and I need a date on there if we know what that is. An increase of, and we've got that date, that percentage blank because we don't know what that is at this point, of the TID, consistent with policy by December 31st of 2026. And if you remember, it was very important when we had that retreat to say consistent with policy, so we've got that in there. And then site development timeline decreased by 30% by January of 2020. And then again, what are we measuring? That key outcome indicator, measuring things like the percent decrease in development time, percent increase of use, and the percent decrease in infill development time. So then if we switch over to the back, once everybody's had a chance to absorb that, how are we going to get that done? What are we looking at? Well, establish partnership with finance committee to study TID utilization. UDO update, that's being done by admin and planning. Obviously, it's going to have a big impact on economic development, but that isn't necessarily something that is in economic development hands. And then develop that TID utilization strategy.
Does the UDO have a date?
The UDO?
The UDO, our best hope right now is March 18th being approved. UDO rewrite.
Oh, March 18th of this year already.
Right, but
Oh,
that's the UDO, that's not the strategic plan.
No, I get it.
Yeah. Or land use plan. I never get all the magic words right.
Right. Yes, I think because you guys have got both a UDO update going out, and I believe a comp plan is in the works as well.
That's the term I'm looking for, comp plan.
Yep. You guys have got several things going on at the same time. My understanding from Kelly was that the comp plan is a 2026 budgeted item.
Right. Yeah, comp plan. Right.
So, any questions about goal 2, or does that make sense the way that everything kind of fits together?
Just, you have a site development timeline decreased by 30%. That the development actually and getting approvals, what does all that say? Because I don't see it in goal 2, goal on the next page.
That had to do with I believe that had to do with the UDO update. I believe that came out of
Cutting the time for sure.
The development, that was the first item. Development timeline decreased by at least 10%. That's because the UDO was coming out. I thought that was what that applied to.
And I thought the site development timeline also was coming out of the UDO update as well. So I believe that both of those goals are being met partially, if not wholly, as part of that UDO update. Does that help, Mike?
Well, you're saying that the UDO is going to streamline the process.
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the reasons why we wanted to note this is the development process. Obviously, if you're a developer, you have hard costs involved with the longer that it goes on. And so we're doing several things in here to make it more developer friendly for the right projects, right? So that at least they know that the process will go faster now because of a lot of things at the City of Franklin.
Why we started the whole process.
Yeah.
Right. And I think maybe that applies more to infill development timeline being reduced. And then the 30% decrease is the goal or the objective for infill development.
Yeah, there was as I recall, there is a whole committee or commission that is being removed from the process of, and so that's part of being able to shorten that timeline on infill.
That was us, right?
No, I think there were some decisions that were being allowed to be made. Minor site plan amendments were being allowed to be made by staff. That was one item that we had foregone last year.
Right.
That was us. But beyond that, I think they've combined parks and environmental. I think that might be over the other. So I'd have to double check the next one.
Yeah.
Government efficiency.
Absolutely.
But the other thing is that the CDA also had to,
right,
and that just got accomplished at the beginning of the February 4th meeting. The council that just got established. So that's what that objective is about.
Okay.
So the process improvements, certainly a lot of them are happening outside of the economic development department, but it will still help the process.
Yeah, gotcha.
Any questions about that second goal then? Are we good? Very quiet or good? Okay. And then goal 3 is city economic development communications improve. Once I put in the correct edit there. So what does success look like? Communications with commercial, residential, industrial developers improved. Increased presence at developer association events. Increased presence at industrial trade shows. And then existing Franklin business relationships. So what do our targets look like? Updated process deployed starting April of 25. Updated marketing materials available by January of 25. So that's already part of the process and that should be done already. At least 6 events attended annually by EDC director. We decided that should be 4, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to change that to 4.
And that date, and we're reviewing it later on in the meeting, but it should be 4/25 for the materials.
Okay, and so I will change that. Then can the updated process then should probably be pushed out a little bit as well since the updated materials aren't ready? Or is the updated process ready to go as well?
I guess we could push that to 6/25.
And then at least one event attended annually in terms of the trade shows, and then one business retention visit. I don't like the way that looks. I'm gonna make that clear. I'm gonna put down one business retention visit. I'm gonna make that clear. Visit scheduled per month starting in June of 25 are our target.
And one trade show, you said,
Yes.
above that?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
be that.
I'm going to make that trade show. Yep, I should have.
Can I wordsmith a little?
You can wordsmith away. That's what we're here for.
Retention and expansion visit?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. I can do so for the target one retention and expansion. Yep. I can absolutely do that. Happy to do that. And then on the back, then how we're going to do that, the plans and programs, I'm going to be here. But the marketing material distribution plan created, events attendance prioritized, promotional videos updated, and then develop a business retention expansion visit schedule. So really just kind of creating some structure around some of.
Who does the promotional videos?
Well, we're going to have to look for proposals. Steve had a suggestion to maybe look at Destination Wisconsin. Discover Wisconsin.
Yeah, Discover Wisconsin.
We have had it done by a group, not Business View, they did a magazine for us, but there's a group that just did them and they completed them last year. And so they're on the website now. And
That's not Brooks.
no, that's not Brooks. No, these were folks that
Yeah.
were doing it as a advertising opportunity for sponsors. And so we decided we wanted to do a little different approach than that because it looked and felt like selling our directory or company listings and contact information. So we're looking at making that some kind of a contracted function.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can decide which videos are made. They had a pre-selected menu of them. Well, they're going to have to be updated sometime.
Yeah.
So, and my guess is we'll get that planned out and figured out this year and do a contract next.
Comments other than the edits that we've already got, any other? Everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Does it all fit together?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
What is the picture on the front?
So we need to grab, so we can change out whatever pictures you want. We try to
I
grab.
just don't know.
Is that someplace from
Yeah.
Illinois?
Where is this?
We can take that.
You would ask that.
We actually would like to get some pictures from Franklin, so.
I'll send you a link.
Well, I remember we had talked about the Dropbox link
Yep.
for pictures. If I could get the Dropbox link, we
Yep.
will use city approved pictures.
I keep
Yep.
looking for this gas station.
Yeah.
It's not
Um,
there.
I prefer to use city approved pictures in the actual final copy, so this is a draft.
This is a stock photo picture for the draft, Mike.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well,
I
I
was
was just,
not-
it's
no.
just,
I was not going to give this to you as your final. I really do. Because the other thing too is that I want to use the pictures that have already been vetted by the city. So yeah, we will make sure that you have city vetted pictures.
and on page 3, what is that anything that I should be aware of? Is that our industrial? Or,
I don't think that's us either, Mike.
no?
Yeah,
Like I said, there's stock photos. She didn't have one.
yeah.
But I got one that looks.
That's what I was kind of
Are you
wondering.
sure that's not us?
She may have grabbed. She may have grabbed. My analyst may have grabbed some Franklin stuff.
I am- I would almost bet that.
It could be where the guitar is.
Yeah, that could be Franklin Business Park.
Yeah, that's what I was.
So when I don't get them directly from the city, there's.
No, you'll have your pick of a bunch.
Yeah, no, I do prefer to get them directly from the city because that way I know there's no copyright issues, there's no whatever, they're your pictures and we them. So, yeah.
Sorry about that. I should have got that too.
No, that's okay. We were going back and forth and it's all good. Any other questions then about the goals, any of the outcomes, targets, anything else? Now that we've kind of walked through everything that's on that, the way that they all fit together. There is a variety of target dates if we look at that. So there are some things that are sooner and some things that are pushed out a little bit more. Some of the comp plan ones, because we know that's a 2026, is when that's budgeted for. So the things that are dependent on that are by necessity going to be pushed out a little bit more because they're contingent on the comp plan.
Can we mention that? We have that, the comp plan is in.
Yep.
In strategic goal one, okay.
Is there some way that, like, at the next meeting, we can build the timeline for us, taking these dates and times as to how we're gonna proceed with this? And fill in the blanks as we go?
Right. Yeah, we can do that. We're going to need some help though from the planning department and administration. Like I say, the comp plan is going to determine number one, community vision and prioritization of future locations, because the comp plan is going to take to the end of 26. We can estimate that.
What can we do to start putting this together in a
Yeah,
timeline
we
for
can
us?
sit down and look at this.
I can
next
actually
meeting.
give you a spreadsheet that I use for clients, and it's not going to be a perfect fit, but what it does is that as you kind of start filling in dates for these initiatives, it will actually fill in a Gantt chart in the front. So it's an Excel sheet, and I'm happy to share that with you. And then the strategic plan participants, there was concern about doing that because this is an election cycle. So as soon as we have permission to do all of that, we will do that as well.
Well, those pictures. No, that's true. We had issues, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. I am happy to do that in whatever way everyone would like.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, concerns?
I need to mull around a little bit here. Thank you.
All right.
We'll miss you.
The only item, and I can touch base with you on any wordsmithing stuff.
Yeah, please. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
happy to, we can go ahead and again, we'll definitely switch out the pictures. There's a few small edits that I do want to make sure that we do. And then if we are able to, if there are any, if there's anything that we're able to do with these targets, if we're able to go through and you know, getting additional information where we can make those a little bit more precise,
Sure.
we can always do that as well. Just
Yeah,
let me know.
flexible.
Yeah.
On a snowy day in January, we'll invite you back.
Or Sub-Zero, huh? That's real nice, Mike.
Update, I mean, there's a couple items on there. You know, we talked about reaching out to the Tourism Commission and starting collaboration with them, and they're still kind of finding their way as to what they want to be and how they want, what they want to pursue. And
Yeah.
so when they get that figured out, you know, then we can see where we can work together.
Absolutely. And this shouldn't be this. I mean, kind of don't think about this as the ceiling in terms of what you guys could do, but this is when you do have developers who are coming to look, this is one of the documents that they're going to look to. So having some of the goals that we have definitely makes it look like Franklin is open for development and definitely wants to welcome them.
Right.
So
And that's important because that's not been the perception over.
yeah, and that really, we wanted to make sure that that message was loud and clear, because I think that definitely is the stance of John and the Economic Development Department, the EDC, and the city. So, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, I've
Nice
appreciated
to see
working
you.
with everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Greg. Safe travels.
Yes. Want me to shut the doors on my way out since,
No, open meeting.
but is it closed session?
It will be after we
Oh, I
talk
see.
to item
I
A,
got ahead.
under item A.
You're
Yep.
ahead of us. Bye-bye.
Have a good
Bye,
one.
thank you.
So,
What y'all think of the plan?
Great.
Yeah.
At least for the first time, we had some real direction. As far as I'm concerned.
What do you think?
It's something to work with. Gives us a template. But now we have to figure out how we get the work done.
Okay.
And what that finally looks like. We need our general kind of things that came out of brainstorming. The application of it is more detail.
Well, I was hugely underwhelmed. So, to give you an idea, when we started the process,
How long has this been going on? Like, when did you guys start this?
we've been working on this through this year.
Okay.
Well,
We
pretty much
started-
the second half of the year is really what we've been working on.
Okay.
About 3 years ago, we decided the UDO needed to be rewritten
Okay.
because the developers were having problems with it and it wasn't anything that they could use as a tool.
Okay.
So that's kind of started all of the wheels turning, in my mind.
So let me go back. When we started this process, I brought to everybody, Green Bay, what they did and how they researched, how they put it together. And that was my expectation of what we were going to get here today. And I don't think we did anything more than what we did with our breakout session. October, November. To me, there wasn't a whole lot of thought going in. So I put some in. I'll share with you guys. Some things we tend to do.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Working independently.
Hey, Oh, I'm sorry, you know what? Yeah, that's,
Okay, you are
I
going to
think
give
I
it
read
to
your
me
page
now.
two.
That was naughty?
No, you're good. Good for one answer.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do you have another one so I can give it to
I don't know. We'll
Okay,
see.
if not, that's fine. I can just proceed.
No, you have to be here for any information, not
Should I just give you one, John?
whimsically.
Yeah, you gave me one,
Yeah. Second page.
You need a
2 pages?
Yeah. So this is a template we tend to use, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with Traction. Tim? Yeah. So I just put it into a Traction format, which starts about core values, which was not mentioned in this one, as well as focuses, et cetera. So some of the things we talked about: integrity, transparency, community engagement, sustainability, growth, inclusivity, and respect, accountability, and excellence. So there's a 1-year, 3-year, and a 10-year focus. Core focus: enhancing the quality of life for all residents through responsive services, sustainable growth, and a thriving community. Our nation, providing exceptional municipal services to foster a safe, vibrant, and prosperous city. We want to establish Franklin as a leading suburban community known for economic vitality, environmental stewardship, and a high-quality life. Population growth of 10% with diverse housing opportunities, expanded business district, 20% increase in local businesses, maintain a 90% resident satisfaction rate, and then also develop the ROC. Target market: current residents, prospective homeowners, businesses, and regional visitors. Unique value proposition: a thriving suburban community that blends small-town charm with modern amenities and business opportunities, anchored by, I've got down here as the ROC is a key attraction. 3 uniques: didn't have time. Transparent governance, proactive infrastructure development, business-friendly policies, and community. And then it was just kind of, I did not have our budget. I had the 24. I would normally fill that in as to what our, 1-year picture is, 3-year picture is, and the things that go with it. If you take a look at on page 2, advance key phases of TID development to attract new, increased community engagement events, 3 citywide, improve emergency response. Point being is identifying some things, whether it's issues list, population growth, etc. And then I took it another step further and broke it down pieces. Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta make sure I got it all.
Mm-hmm.
Just made one of those. Any chance we could get a couple copies? Okay. Thank you. I apologize. I thought I had one. Yeah.
Or did we lose our leader?
I broke it down. So, like, copies. They only.
Oh, he's making copies?
Yeah. So it's going to break down item by item with a key performance standards, activities, duties, resources needed.
How do we reduce the carbon footprint? How do we improve emergency times? And how do we do additional developments at the ROC?
That's the next page. Bring it to you. All right, so we got on the next.
I mean, is that within our scope?
Well, it would base a little bit on the kind of industries and bring it to the party. But more than anything, I just want to point out, hey, this is the kind of stuff that should be in the plan. This was very fluffy. And we didn't get any further than we're at the meeting, put things up on the wall.
Those are the only three that I don't see our link to that.
Yeah, and you know what, Mike? I agree. I looked at those just now, so
It's official, I'll be staying on after the election.
congratulations.
John is gonna make me a citizen participant.
Really?
Well, I won't be an aldermanic participant.
So that you don't get a vote?
Sure I do.
Okay, so then you do get a vote.
I'm on the committee, but instead of being the aldermanic appointment,
Yeah,
I'm a citizen volunteer.
okay.
Like Tim and others. And others.
We're talking to you, Melissa.
Oh, what? Sorry.
And we don't play with the phone in the game here. Game time.
My daughter. Sorry.
Okay.
She wants to go to the library. I'm like, well, gotta wait till I get home.
I said I'm going to be a citizen participant like some others in the room.
Heard that. Say it.
Yeah.
I'll be
Thank you.
a high-ranking citizen participant.
Ooh. Snazzy.
No more high-ranking than anybody else.
Gotcha.
But we all are high-ranking citizen participants.
So, all I've got here, guys, and I'm not saying that this is of any exact of anything, but I took what you guys have there in orange and then kind of blew it out into a little bit of a narrative. So I now said, from a vision, a mission, the background, types of businesses to attract and how, residential commercial ratio, SWOT analysis, selling to Franklin, the developers, responsibility for selling, engagement strategies, specific recommendations, rationale, timing, and next steps. So the first, Franklin is a thriving regional hub where businesses, residents, visitors enjoy vibrant but fun. Mission, we've got that background, we've got that. Types of businesses to attract and how, knowledge and innovation. Healthcare and life sciences, advanced manufacturing, retail and hospitality, small businesses and entrepreneurs, establish small business grants, mentorship programs, and networking. Residential to commercial ratio, I think we're now 65-35. Is that about right?
25.
Anyhow, so but that should be in here. Maintain the balance, residential, commercial, ensure the commercial growth supports the need of the residential population. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Selling Franklin to developers. Highlight strategic location. Emphasize Franklin's proximity to Milwaukee, major highways, airports, offering easy access to regional and national markets. Showcase business incentives. Promote TID investments, tax incentives, and streamline permitting processes to reduce development costs. Demonstrate community support. Leverage key assets. Provide developmental opportunities. That including the available land parcels, infrastructure readiness, and zoning flexibility to accommodate diverse business. Offer personalized assistance. Who's responsible? Ultimately, the Economic Development Department, leading the effort with support of the mayor and the city council. Target audience, commercial, residential, mixed-use properties, as well as investors. Engagement strategy, communication channels, enhance business attraction, retention, expand the TID, develop the ROC, improve infrastructure, strengthen community engagement marketing. My point is, I would expect a whole lot more than we got. And guys, I did this in an hour. And she's had now, since October. And, this isn't what I do. So all I'm simply saying, I was underwhelmed with what we got.
My personal opinion is the issue we've got here is you put in here. I don't know.
Yeah.
purpose. Purpose. Fine. I mean, I think, you know, I think you're dealing with, when you turn around, you have to deal with the population as a whole. It's not, you know, one of the things survey which disappointed in the people that responded and residents themselves. We need more restaurants. I think the problem we've got here is we're going to have to take small steps to move forward. In some cases, repair things at City Hall level or started to address some popular. Like I said, I don't argue with a lot of things, but fortunately, we're not just a company, individual population. I view the whole size here, and in some respects, starting to fix some of the problems we have at City Hall level.
So tell me, so I'm looking over here, types of businesses to attract and how, not mentioned in hers. So we're just gonna go aimlessly down the road? That's all I'm saying, is we could get tighter to what our goal is here. Is that, I mean, and that should have been part of the research aspect of it, so as there was coming to bear, which would include all of the people's involvement, says, hey, this is what we want, this is not what we want, you know, down there at the corner by us. Well, I'd like to have a vote as to what's going to be in there. And that would be part of the plan that says, here's what we're going to put in or not. Then there was no mention as to how we're going to be attractive. The whole section in here, what, you know, I mean, what are we going to feature? Because if we just, you know, say, come call us, that's one thing. But if we're going to go proactively, and by the way, these may not be the right ones. But we need to identify what the right ones are and then have a strategic plan which says how we're going to go sell that to somebody, because word is sell. And then who's going to do it? I mean, it's left up, and John, I think you need help. And it's really not, I mean, to me, it's sort of like if we leave that out, and it's a gap which says, okay, so, you know, I think this guy's already maxed. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, you got a full-time job. And now to make up all these phone calls, et cetera, then, or we're waiting for some. And that's, to me, I think we owe him our support, which is, needs a little bit of help to make this happen.
Yes,
And that's kind of part of what, and maybe it isn't reflected there, maybe it's too subtle. But the fact is, if we are going to proactively pick the kind of company that we put in there, then we've got to have manpower dedicated to it, free him up, or, you know, the other kinds of things. You have, you know, a couple agencies that are at your, but you got the concept. I'm
Right.
simply saying you don't have enough.
But some of these things are identified, you know, you go to page 6 in this. I mean, it wasn't totally ignored. You know, it asked how important it is to recruit businesses to Franklin. Respondents said, you know, they talked about restaurants, small retail, high-tech companies, health-related businesses, manufacturing. So, I mean, it's not like it was totally overlooked. Again, to go back to Tim's point, this was a start where you take a look at addressing some issues that are keeping us from being business friendly. And so, yeah, I mean, addressing these mechanics takes us out about a year to do that work done, and then we have to look at, you know, targeting and the marketing. And you know, in my discussion with Tori, she was wanting to bite off something we get accomplished with resources we had, this being the further on goal, because that's what all has, this all has to have approval by the city council. And so,
I guess I
just
didn't.
reading the room in there, there was, you know, so much acceptance with the council members there, and we didn't have the whole council. what we're going to tackle. I read it a little differently, but again,
That's how I was. That the committee is worse.
Take me back. I mean, so what the people that were in that group? You mean?
Well, like he just got done pointing out to start with, they weren't all there. And all of this stuff has to be approved. You and I are running our business and we take this traction. You and I just make a decision.
Yeah.
And everybody else follows.
Yeah. Well, but I guess, and again, I come back to the whole idea of it's easier to edit than to create. So if somebody says, you know what, Steve, I don't agree that we should be technology, cross it off. But right now, there's nothing in here that says who we're going to attack. Right now, it's a nebula, so we're going to waste a year. And that to me is it's a waste in a year. And I don't see any of those kind of recommendations. It's mentioned in the, what we did back in October, and there's nothing going forward. I mean, the strategic plan says here are the things to do, when, and that kind of stuff. This needs tighter. By the way, I gave it an hour.
right, no, I agree. And those are the things that are kind of standard that we would look at. And so at some point we need to put a number to those efforts.
Yeah.
Like you were just talking about, I need help. I would need help to do that. And that equates to money.
Okay.
And so unless I have specific items to spend dollars on, and so we talked about this.
Yeah.
My budget goes backward. So, I'm going to have some, but I guess I'm wondering if we're going to be able to go to the city council and ask for it. And this is what Corey was thinking too. Do we go? Are we able to go realistically to the council and say we need another staff person in the economic development department?
Well, okay.
See what I'm getting at?
Yeah, but I mean, if I put this down and hey, I can put numbers to these things,
Sure.
and we can start. And if we go back to our orange, we say, okay, here's where our revenue is today. In a year, we're going to be here because we're going to bring 3 of these, 2 of those, 5 of here, and in 3 years, 5 years, etc. Which means we now have money to hire the people, maybe on the come, which is going to develop to later. So that's an investment. Mm-hmm. But based upon what we got, I got nothing out of this. I thought this was just blow. I mean, this was just a recap of a bunch of focus groups with the people. And when all is said and done, I had 80% of the things contributed that people said in there. So, I mean, Tim, you might say, but everything on the wall, about 80% of those were the things I submitted. And I'm saying, hey, guys, we could get more and do more. And that's what I'm looking at. And she's supposed to be an expert. She should be putting this kind of stuff with her knowledge and background. She brings up the fact that she's got an Excel spreadsheet. Where is it? I mean, that would have been a nice thing to bring. So if you put it here, boom, 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 that's the kind of preparation I would have expected out of, she's had it. We've been doing this, 6, 8 months? I did this in an hour, okay? And this isn't what I do. I just did it to say we could do more. That was why I expected more out of it. And I'm going to come back to your question. After we got through with that session, now what? We got it back again with nothing more tangible to it. That's why I'm disappointed.
I looked at her presentation as a starting point for us to improve on. We got some goals. What do we add to those goals? What kind of meat do we put into those goals? I don't think that was her job to do that. Her job was to start us on this process, to at least get us to the point where we have something to work from. And I think that's the product she gave us. Not the details as to how you do it, not the details as to what you do to do it. I think that has to come from us internally and what the city wants to have done, what the city is going to vote to put their money to at this point. Because
Mike,
right
this
now,
is what I brought back in last year.
Yeah.
And that was the Green Bay one.
Okay.
And that was my expectation that it was going to be.
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and she
And
had,
what did you pay for that last year?
I didn't pay anything. It wasn't me, I just got it from them. This is what
Okay,
they published.
what was their budget?
Oh, I think they were at 100, something like
150 for the original and 55 for the
that. Right.
for the,
And I understand
update.
that, but that's understood. But the fact is, it was something.
Yeah. Well, we paid less than $5,000 to start us on this whole process at this point.
Oh, no, I thought we committed to about 45, didn't we?
20.
20.
This was 20.
Oh, okay.
This whole thing is 20?
Yeah, it was 19,800.
Okay. So this is the last invoice then?
Correct.
Well, there's not a lot of meat here, guys. Just to
There isn't. There
I
isn't.
mean, it's just, we might as well just go out here, shake hands, and spend the last 5 having a good drink and beer, that kind of stuff. Because I don't know what you're going to do with this, because nothing's being done till the end of the year. 12/31/25. I don't even know who our target audience is, which industries we're going to go after. We don't even identify who's responsible, which by definition, unfortunately, John, we didn't get you any help in this. And that's my, it's like.
Well, as I said, I think that the thought process was, and Kelly and Corey had some discussions on where the status of the city is and what the future portends, and I think Corey was trying to avoid a situation where we're going to have to go to the council and ask for more staff because it didn't seem like it was in the cards.
I'll go to the staff. I'll go to them for you.
And
I have no problem. I'll put this together and say, or I'll tell you and say, guys, this is what could be.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you got this, which is a nice, but it's not strategic, and it's not really any, plan kind of stuff. And again, if they don't like these, that's fine. It's easy to edit. Forget technology. Put this in there. It's and some of it's going to be fortuitous too. Somebody's going to pick up the phone and call us and say, "Yeah, I'd really like to be there." Well, we hadn't thought about you, but yeah, we could put you in. I mean, that's kind of how it is right now to some degree, John.
Yeah.
And I'm simply saying, if we had a goal though and said, you know what, we really do want to go after healthcare, we'd start to put together a list. Who we're going to contact, how we're going to get that done. Those would be the things that I think should, kind of be part and parcel to this. And then, there was a section in here which is how do we sell it, who's responsible, target audience, all those things. And it could be flushed out a whole lot better than this. Anyhow. And I got down here on another one, which, economic development, performance standards, track 10 new business annually, increased TID investment duties, etc. I mean, I just think we should have more teeth to what we're doing, if you're going to call it a strategic.
Well, again, I understand where you're at, but we can just arbitrarily pick whatever industry go after them. But I'm looking at like this here, we're trying to address the development process being improved. Okay, so we get these people in the door, and we're still at the point where we haven't addressed any of this. So they get here, and everything crawls to the snail's pace. How is that going to make us look good with tech or whatever area you're at? Right now, the different departments. One of the key problems you have here. Internal issues you got to deal with. My view of it is this is that step first. Really go out and sell whatever industry you want to come in the door. My view of it doesn't matter whether it's healthcare, tech, automotive, whatever.
Well, okay, we have a template with Saputo, and a number of other companies come in.
A template.
Well, insofar as TIDs and things like that.
I wouldn't call it a template. We have previous agreements that have been done.
Yeah.
And that's what we utilize. And each agreement is different depending on what kind of a project it is. If it's a developer project or if it's an actual company itself. And so, what Tim's talking about is polishing the tools or fixing the tools or gauging the tools.
And I appreciate what you're saying. Look, it'd be nice if we really did have time. But
yeah,
each one is individual.
Well, and it also would be nice, and this information goes to developers in the area. We do have that's the target at this point, is to approach the developers to see if, they can bring, a development and build a spec building in the community. And so now we have another tool at our disposal. And then they have people that market that to companies. But that's the target right now, is to get the materials that we've developed this past year and this upcoming year, get those out to developers. And so, and then we have one trade show that we would go to that would be marketing, and that would be manufacturing, and we could determine what that is. We could pick that. That's about all I've got time for. But again, it comes back to
it comes back to the vision. Where do we want to be? And we got to build the people and the staff in order necessarily to get there.
Yep.
And so,
don't disagree.
Can't do this today based on what we got. I'm with you.
No, and I've been doing those for a long time for multiple different organizations.
Exactly.
And I had 3-person staffs.
Yeah. But that's the point. Or put it another way. Guys, this is where we want to go. Yeah, so what do you need? No, I can't give it to you. Well, then you can't have this. It's that simple.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Well, you want crass this stuff. Exactly. So that's, I guess, what I'm saying is, I don't know if other people realize and I'm happy to champion for you in the fact that if we want to be, someone like this, then we need to staff accordingly and give you the resources. And there should probably be a section, which it wasn't on here. What kind of resources or things do we need to do to accomplish that? Then we scale it back, guys. And this is what we're going to get. We'll put out a nice brochure this year. So that's what you get. And I guess that's to me, I don't think this is an undoable. This, I do better.
Right.
But I mean,
no, I get
so we could get it more detailed, probably with her help, and say, hey, look, come on, we could get a little bit more detail, something like this, etc. How would you? She's got experience. She can plug and play from those other organizations timelines. What did it take to do this? How long did it take to get boom, 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 and some real life experiences that kind of stuff. So we really could go to the city council and say, this, what do you want? You want an A, a B, a C? Here's what we can do. And I'm asking for money.
And do you, well, yes, you are.
Yeah. I'm asking for money to get more money back.
And are we going to take it away from the police department? Are we going to take it away from the fire department?
No, my goal is that I'll actually bring you more. It's an investment. If it's not, don't do it. That's the whole point, Mike. I mean, if
I mean, I'm not being negative to it, but that's the trade-off with X number of dollars, and what we bring in is how many years out.
That's true. No question.
And what do we need to survive today, to pay the bills today and provide services that we do need to provide? That's what you're up against when you're going with the
city council. But unless
the community, not the city council,
okay.
It's the community.
But what I'm saying is, unless they get a proposal that they can even think about it,
Well,
then we just are going to keep bumping along with no real plan. And I thought the goal was to have a plan which says, hey, we can go here, but to do that, we're going to have to boom, 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 spend.
well, then it's up to us to decide what we want to ask for. And that's us as a group right here. We're the commission or committee, so what do we want to ask for?
I want resources to pull off something better than this. This was, like you said, after I read it, I said, well, what more would I want? I would like some details as to what and how it would look.
Well, that starts right with the mayor's budget, proposed budget. That's Kelly Hirsch and Danielle and the mayor.
We owe it to them to tell them what our vision is.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then they can go back and reflect and say, you know what? That's great, but not now. I'm okay with that.
No, that's what we have to look at now. And I think that's something that we tailor to what we see the city is needing, not somebody from the outside.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, around this table, there's people who've been in Franklin.
And there's people that can be invited to a meeting to participate in that as well.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'd love for you to send this to Cory and say, hey, can she add more? If you guys are okay with that, to add a little bit more teeth to our proposal. That's all.
Well, I'd say let's come back to it at the next meeting and figure out what we want to do with that.
Okay. I'm okay
Make
with
that
that
an
too.
agenda item. You know, we're gonna do a revision and stuff like that.
I'm okay with that too. Want a second?
But that gives everybody a chance to digest it.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's a better idea. Digest it, look at it.
We have new members who want to do a lot of reading.
Love
Yeah.
reading.
Absolutely. All right, so we got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, good deal. Thank you. All right, we're gonna do some update here.
Oh, the closed session.
So our motion was to bring Chairman Lebowski's draft strategic plan back and see how we want to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
See what we want to put in that, edit it, and then take it to Corey to see if she could help out with that,
Or not. I mean, if the group says, no, you
All
know
right.
what, no, we're good where it is, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that too.
Well, I think it needs to be developed further, but I don't know if she's the one to do it.
Right, so we just bring Chairman Lebowski's for draft plan back with edits
Yeah.
or revisions. I'll have the word.
On the really 50,000 foot view level, putting together more of like a traction plan here that we're going to.
I'm happy to. Well, the traction plan I took away, that's where I started.
I get it.
And then I went to the written one.
Yeah.
Only because it gave me a little bit more. So I'm happy to do that because to me it says here where we could be. But we also need to tighten it up as to what kind of resources, and I didn't have that in there. So I guess that's on my to do.
Well, that's for the revision.
Yeah.
This is the concept.
Yeah. So the point is, I'm happy to propose it. In a certain sense, it kind of takes you out of the hot seat, John, saying you're not asking for it. I'm saying, guys, either that or what are we here for?
Entirely.
Or what are we here for? You don't want our vision? Then okay. Want me to?
The question I got from Mike is, what's her opinion on what he said? Council member, you know the other council, the mayor. What is your view of? What is your view of that? That are they going to take this well? Are they ignore it? Are they?
Given the current financial, my opinion, given the current financial condition of the city and what it's facing now, we aren't able to generate a lot of new funds. So it's always going to be play against what the priorities are, and the priorities are going to be service to the community and to the residents. So I think we're peripheral to that in that sense, in terms of economic development. It's critical, and we know we know it can happen, but at the same time, we're still a victim of who comes to our door. So the dollar maybe should be spent, like in the past, on getting people to come to our door, as well as targeting. How do you develop some targets and develop that side, as well as the general out there in the public through what we've done in terms of finding out the hits and stuff in the past. I don't know where any of that's at this point. We developed that whole scenario where we could take hits and you'd be given who went to our site and stuff like that, and then we'd follow up with that.
That was costing us $20,000 a year,
Yeah.
and the people that went there, you saw the name of the company. That's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, who do I contact?
yeah.
The meat of it is you have to have the contact data for that company that went to our website. And so I discontinued it because it did not generate leads. What you're talking about was
Yeah.
going to generate leads. Didn't generate leads, it just identified a company, at which point now you've got to go spend another $20,000 on like Zoom info or
Yeah.
Zoom databases to pull up CEOs. And I agree, that's a warm sell, but again,
I think right now we have
We didn't
quite
have
a
the
few
money.
people coming to our door. We can always generate more, but I think everybody's plate is full in terms of planning, engineering, John, and just handling what's coming to our door right now. So how do we expand that to maybe look for some new kind of activities that we'd like to see in Franklin. I mean, that's all stuff that we can talk about. And then go to the council and say, we're doing a great job here, but we'd like to also kind of penetrate this area or get these kind of things coming in as options. So it maybe isn't a lot of money. Maybe it's just, you know, what we would like to see happen for the city and then getting the council to buy it.
Yeah, put a proposal together that sells. By the other part, I'm okay with a no, Tim. In the sense that, no, it's not in our purview now. Then okay. But I don't want to be here thinking, oh, we could be doing this and this and this and this, and no, we can't. I'm okay with that. As opposed to, you know, like, well, got all these options. We don't. And that's okay. I'm just saying, let's put our hands around what we can or can't do. All right. We closing?
We gotta go into a session.
Well, we actually got just item A. The reason we have to go to April on the deadline for the materials being ready is our biennial report can't be released until April because during election years, from December till April 1, or till whenever the election is, we can't release anything that has the names and the pictures of elected officials that are running for office.
You run? So nobody.
Pecorelli and
So they'd be on the picture.
Michelle Pecorelli.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Michelle and Pecorelli.
For some reason, I was just thinking it was going to be the EDC and the. No.
And then next year you'll have the same thing because you'll have 3 aldermen up and John Nelson for mayor.
2 of every 3 years you have that issue. So I brought it up with the mayor just to give him the heads up because next year, even on the calendar we had this year for the celebration, we wouldn't have been able to put anything in the city newsletter unless it was all anonymous. You know, we wouldn't be able to mention the mayor's address to the crowd. And you know, now it's, you know, we're looking at January.
So here's a question: why do we have to put names in the back anyhow? I mean, you wanted to mention everybody who was involved. Why? Here's the plan.
Yeah, we don't have to do it necessarily on this, but
Yeah.
typically
Okay.
you identify the Economic Development Commission, the City Council,
Yeah.
that participated
I got it.
in the process.
Okay.
And so if you want to forego that,
So we can
that's
do it
fine.
after April, though.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. It doesn't. It's not going to affect us.
Yeah.
All right. So we're
Anyways,
gonna-
but the biennial report will,
Yeah.
April 1st is the release date.
Okay.
After the election.
All right.
So, anyways,
Don't make it close the door. What do we have?
you have to have a motion to
Okay.
go into closed, and I'll read off the.
Motion to go into closed session to discuss things.
82nd. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Let's do it.
Economic Development Commission may enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 subsection 1 subsection E for market competition reasons to deliberate and consider potential commercial, industrial, manufacturing developments and governmental actions in relation thereto, and re-enter upon open session at the same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate.
All right. Our next item on the agenda is our voucher approval of CP2 Consulting. $4,950. And this is the last one, John?
Yep.
It says none.
Mine says,
Well, I know, and I just got it this morning.
Oh, so we're gonna insert it?
Yeah, because, and I updated the agenda, but this is under contract, has already been approved. We just need to decide to approve the actual payment.
Move to approve the voucher for $4,950.
second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Do it. Next item, next meeting date for March 21st at 3 p.m. Last item, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you, John.